Hi, I'm Dr. Dee Dee Curtis. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about one of the most serious situations that the United States is in today than we have been in probably in my lifetime, except maybe the Cuban Missile Crisis. Today, our president and his national security team, they're trying to decide if we're going to get involved in a war between Israel and Iran. And the reason that many of them say that we need to get involved is because they do not want Iran to have nuclear weapons. And they go in and they do all of these things all over their region or whatever. But you know, in my lifetime, I've heard them say that about so many different world leaders. And many times they go in and do what they call regime change. That means that they're going in and they're going to change whomever the leader is of that nation. And sometimes it works, but based on history, most of the time it does not. And the reason it does not work is because people in certain regions tend to choose who they want. And when you look at it in someone all the way across an ocean, thousands of miles away, when they base who a country should have as their leader based on who they think they should have as a leader, it's two totally different things. In our country alone, we had people in our country this past weekend, and what did they do? They were mad because our U.S. Army was celebrating its 250th year. We had all types of people who were elected officials that did not feel like we needed to celebrate our own army. They were against our own military who have fought for us for 250 years. And so, if we cannot come to a consensus on what's important in our own country, how do you think we can come to a consensus on what should be important in another person's country? When they do this to the Ayatollah Khomeini, who has been in power for 35 years in Iran, now we have to ask ourselves, what are the other countries around there going to do? And what are all of them going to be doing while they are taking out this ruler that's been there for 35 years? Now, another thing that we have to look at the changes that have taken place in the United States in the last just few years. Another part of this globalist agenda is to bring all of these people from this region and bring them into the G7 countries, especially the United States, England, France, everyone, Ireland, all of them are having these same issues because what is happening, they brought all of these people into their countries, and now the question is, how would they respond when the United States helps Israel to get rid of a leader in their region that has been there for 35 years? Will we have any type of repercussions inside the United States? Look at how many people or how many Muslim mosques have been built in the United States just in the last few years. Now look at what's going on in Texas. And Texans are asking, what is happening here? We are now being infiltrated by people from a region, not that we don't want them here, because, I really have nothing against the people. I really don't, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. However, if you're going to start something with these people that have been brought in and who brought themselves in, how do you think they're going to respond in our communities? This was the goal of globalism, is to bring people in and make sure that those people do not blend with the native culture that's already there. And if you'll take a look at this, and when you get a chance, flip back through and read what their goal is in implanting people who do not feel like they're a part of that culture. And so anyway, this is something that is very difficult. And I'm going to really be honest with you, when I voted for President Trump, I voted for peace. Now, you can always have the warmongers like Lindsey Graham that will always want war, because war is one of the greatest greatest money makers that you can possibly have. Because in the first place, you have to have the companies that build all of the weapons. You have to have the infrastructure for war. You have to have the cleanup for war, the cleanup after war. So all of these people get very wealthy, whereas millions of young people will sacrifice their lives. And you think about this, I want to show you this. The reason they say that they want this war is they do not want Iran to have nuclear weapons. But look at this. It makes you wonder, if they don't want Iran to have one nuclear weapon, but we're looking at all these other countries that have hundreds of nuclear weapons, and everybody's cool with that. You know, I don't remember, maybe they did, I don't remember them having all of this when all of these countries were building their nuclear weapons. I don't remember all of this going on. Don't remember us wanting to start maybe what could be WW3, because all of these countries were building their nuclear weapons. And I don't remember that. And so when you look at this and you look at what's there already, and they are concerned about somebody that might build one because they might be mean to everybody else, and they say they've been mean to everybody else. Now, it looks like to me, just as an American, everybody's always fighting. You know, they're always fighting. So how do you decide which one that's fighting is the bad one this time? Because I remember George Bush saying that they had weapons of mass destruction and we had to go and take care of Iraq. And that was what, 20 years ago. I remember that they had weapons of mass destruction. And then when they had taken the oil and done everything that they needed to do, taken all of the resources that they needed, torn down antiquities that had been around for thousands of years, then they say, oops, we made a mistake. There were no weapons of mass destruction. So me having confidence in them and their abilities to judge who needs to be taken out and who doesn't is minuscule. Plus, I do believe in peace. Now, whatever this is, and the most important thing is that we do not allow our country to get involved with starting wars or finishing wars. Let me just remind you, when the war started in Vietnam, it lasted 20 years. The war in Afghanistan lasted 20 years. The thing that Americans must remember is that the kids that can end this war that starts, if we are blessed enough for us to even be around, those kids have not been born yet. And let me remind Americans about the draft and conscription, that right now, this just happened last year, that the Democrats voted for the draft age where they have to do selective service to go from 18 to 26. It used to be 18 to 25. It's now 18 to 26, and it is automatic. So every young man, when he turns 18, whatever the powers that be will register you for the draft, whether you want to or not, or register you for selective service. So this is something that every American needs to think about. And this is why I put this up here, because Americans, we can get, with our hubris, say, well, we can go and take these people out. I just want you to know, we're not the only ones with weapons. I want you to know that. We're not the only ones that get to make all of the decisions for the entire world. So anyway, please let me know what you think about it. And before you decide that it is up to us to go in and take over another country and remove a ruler that's been there for 35 years, you just remember that can go both ways. Understand that. It can go both ways. They also have allies. And this is something that I did not want, and that I felt so blessed that Donald Trump was going to be the president of the United States, because I thought that he would not allow what was going on in Israel or Ukraine to get us involved in any of those skirmishes, because I said that is their business. It is not my business. I do not want one of my nephews to be sacrificed because somebody that owns all of these weapons manufacturing companies want to be mega, mega, mega wealthy. Anyway, thank you.